Hey everyone, we have news here that Blackrock is increasing their position of Bngo stock, or bionano genomics. We're going to get into that news. We're also going to look at the chart and a couple things that are happening. You have an important pattern you need to watch, and one thing with Bngo is it almost always plays out its patterns. Meaning, if we break a pattern to the downside, we fall. If we break it to the upside, we run. We're going to look at all of that. Now, if you like these videos, consider hitting the like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Definitely helps me out heaps, and consider checking out the links down below for some stocks and some cryptos. Now, let's see what's going on for Bngo. I'll leave this article down below for you guys as always, but I want to just go over this real quick. So we have a report that Blackrock has filed a 13G/A form with the SEC. It's basically just a disclosure that they purchased or sold some of a company. Well, this is a purchase. They currently own 23.24 million shares, which is 7.8% of Bngo. Now, in their previous filing in February 4 of 2022, they reported that they have 18 million shares at 6% of the company. And even that was an increase in shares of 24% and an increase in overall ownership of 1.3% compared to the previous filing from that one. But that's not all. We also have analyst forecasts giving Bngo roughly a 270% upside. And this was as of January 30. The average one-year price target for Bngo is 683. The forecast range from a low of 354 to 1260. Average price is an increase of about 270%. And a quick side note here, guys, is their earnings is coming out March 7, so we're around a month away or so. So keep that in mind that, their earnings is approaching. A lot of small caps are about to report earnings. I will be covering a lot of them. Now, what's going on here with BlackRock purchasing more Bngo? Well, as you know, it seems like Bngo most of 2022 was just in a clear accumulation phase. And think about this, from May 11, Bngo has not created new lows. It's been somewhat sideways. It's had little gains, little drops along the way, but generally just sideways action, a lot of chop. Now, what is BlackRock? Well, they're an investment management company. Maybe they're loading up on these shares in anticipation of retail going ham on this one again. Maybe they see a lot of value in Bngo right here. As we know, the big boys always load up on these stocks when they're in accumulation zones. The big boys always seem to get the best price, and then retail follows suit, typically chasing all the way to the top, while the big boys then start dumping it on us, the retail investor. Now, regardless of, if BlackRock's just buying these to have a supply for retail investors, or if BlackRock sees a lot of value in Bngo because of their future potential, because of their OGM, it's a more efficient product. It's very well received in the medical community so far, and just being straight up, I'm a long-term investor in this one. It is definitely speculative, it is definitely high risk, it is not profitable yet, but I do speculate as there's more overall adoption in the medical communities, things like that. Bngo will one day flip to profitability and will make me a lot of money. But just remember, it's a risky small cap. Not all of these small caps are going to play out in our favor. Now, as for the chart, we have a broadening formation, broadening pattern, megaphone pattern, whatever you want to call it. Watch this pattern. And just for a quick side note, guys, this wasn't Bngo's low here. It hit its last low in May, so right around 6-7 months ago, quite a while away. That's why, in my opinion, this has been just kind of in an accumulation zone. And just look at this, from January of 2022 till now. I'm talking about a full year here, guys. I mean, we just reset where we were since January of 2022. We've had spikes along the way, we've had little drops along the way, but in my eyes, this to me is just total chop, total sideways action, with little pops along the way, of course, but this to me looks like an accumulation zone. And when you look at stages, you have your stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. We are, I think, approaching our next stage, which is the uptrend, the run up. But yeah, just wanted to add that, this hasn't broke its May 11 low. It's literally been months and months and months. And while it may approach there, while it may fall back if the market does drop, it's just something interesting to think about. I still see a lot of value in Bngo here. And you might be looking at it like, well, it's been running up so much lately. I mean, when you zoom back, we were right here in January of 2022. We have popped along the way. Like I said, we've dropped a little bit, but it's just something to think about, when zooming out, even if it's ran up a little bit, I personally think it's still very undervalued when you think about its growth potential over the years. But like I said, you're going to want to watch this broadening pattern. And if we do crack it here, we're also likely going to crack all three EMAs, the 50, 100, and 200, which doing that at the same time as a break of this pattern would definitely not be a good thing. It would likely cause a sell-off. Of course, it depends on what the overall market does. Maybe it's kind of a fake out type of deal. But one thing with Bngo is this stock almost always plays patterns to a T. Look at this tightening pattern here, this falling wedge. We got a breakout, easy peasy. And just, along the months, this is February, we get these run-ups, kind of an upward channel, a break, we fall. We get an upward, kind of a wedge or a channel sort of, we fall. We get a tightening pattern, fall. We get an ascending channel again, fall. Any break in either direction typically gives it that push. We had a break of this direction here and we dropped. So just, kind of read how Bngo is trading. If it does break this pattern, it can likely sell off. And then we're going to be watching out for the next pattern. Now, one thing I wanted to add before I sign off here is I wanted to talk about this descending resistance. And this was actually established in March of 2021. So we are nearly 2 years of this just kind of fall. If you guys remember 2020 and early 2021, this stock was absolutely crushing it, just going insane. All of 22, it's been pretty much dropping. And since 2023, it has been on a nice little rise. Well, we have to keep an eye on this descending resistance here. I do think we can approach it. I do think a break of $2 will push this. But one thing to look at is if we continue trading on this pattern and we don't break it, we can definitely approach this descending resistance right around like 250, 225. Kind of depends on the timing. If we just really break out here, we're gonna have to break about 250. But if we just kind of slow and steady up here, coming up to the end of February, we're gonna have to break roughly 225. Now, if we just trade sideways, we could likely break out of this somewhere in March. In the end, as long as this doesn't absolutely tank over the next 2 to 3 months, we are going to have a break of this descending resistance, and it's going to be something to watch. We've been seeing these breaks of descending resistance for a lot of things lately, and they have been playing out. One example is Cardano in the crypto world, but there's also a lot of other stocks that have been breaking out of these kind of descending resistances that they've just been facing up against for most all of 2022. I personally think small caps, there's a lot out there that are, in my eyes, criminally undervalued when you look at their growth potential. But that doesn't change the fact that they're all high risk. They should be a small percentage of your portfolio, and you need good diversification into blue chips, into dividend stocks, things of that nature. But I do think Bngo stock will treat us right in the next couple of months, even coming years. It's going to be really important to see how their earnings goes. Could have another record-breaking quarter in terms of revenue, likely another unprofitable quarter though. But hopefully we continue to see just a steady increase in revenue. Their flow cells is kind of like a recurring revenue, so the more people start using Bionano's product, the more people have recurring revenue going to Bngo to supply their machines with what it needs. Something to think about. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know how you feel about Bngo stock. Is it your next shot to the moon? Let me know down below. Thanks as always, guys, and take it easy.